Okay, hi there Booktube, Aaron here, hope you're doing okay. I'm going to be talking a little bit today about the Booktube Prize, specifically about the 6 books I have to read for the Octafinals this first round. So I signed up to judge the category of translated fiction, and I was assigned Group D in that category. What I'll do is I'll link the video announcing the Octafinals and all the books in there below, so if you want to find out a bit more you can watch that. But really I just wanted to look at these 6 books before I read them, just to share them with you, but also as a kind of document for myself, so that as I'm going to read them I can kind of contrast what I'm feeling in the moment as to what I felt before I'd read them. So we'll see how that goes. But it kind of splits nicely in half. This group of 6. There are 3 that are books that I really hadn't heard of before the Booktube Prize, and then 3 that I had. So I'm interested to see how they compare, these 2 groups, whether these 3 books or any of these 3 books that I hadn't heard of, whether they are just really good and they kick the books that I had heard of totally out of the water, or whether it's the other way around, and that the reason I've heard about these other books so many times by so many other people is because they're so good. So we'll see. So I'll start off with the 3 books that I don't really know much about. And I'll just read the synopsis of each one and let you know the translator of each one and stuff like that. So this first one is The Membranes by Chataway, translated by Aria Larissa Heinrich. And yeah, this is I believe from Taiwan. And here's the synopsis. So, in the late 21st century, humanity has migrated to domes at the bottom of the sea to escape devastating climate change. Momo is the most celebrated dermal care technician in all of T-City, but after meeting her estranged mother, she begins to explore her true identity, a journey that leads to questioning the bounds of gender, memory, self, and reality. First published in Taiwan in 1995, The Membranes is a classic of queer speculative fiction in Chinese. So yeah, it's quite cool to have a book that, I suppose, in another country or another culture is a classic, and yeah, it's still to be sort of explored for English speaking, or for anyone who can't really speak Chinese. I'm definitely in that category. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this. In my head, I'm already maybe thinking of connections like The Machine Stops or Brave New Worlds, but I'll try to read it for its own merit, and we'll see how that one goes. And then this next one, this sounds like an interesting one. This is Chasing Homer by Laszlo Krasner, I want to say. I'm probably butchering that name. He's a Hungarian writer, I think. Let's have a look. Yeah, I believe he's Hungarian. But this is translated by John Batke. But it's also got some music that goes with it by a jazz drummer called Sylvester Miklos, and art by Max Newman in it as well. So, an interesting sort of multimedia piece. So yeah, we'll see how this goes. And apparently it's a chase thriller, but maybe quite cerebral. I don't know. Let's see. So, in this chase thriller, a hunted being escapes certain death at breakneck speed, careening through Europe, heading blindly south, faster and faster, escaping the assassins. Our protagonist flies forward, blending into crowds, adjusting to terrains, hopping on and off ferries, always desperately trying to stay a step ahead. And then here's the protagonist speaking. I'm a prisoner of the instant, and I rush into this instant, an instant that has no continuation, just as it has no earlier version. And I have to tell myself, if I had the time to think about this between 2 instants, that I have no need for either past or future because neither one exists. But in fact, I have no time between 2 instants, since there's no such thing as 2 instants. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. And yeah, I have a feeling it's going to maybe do a good job of creating its own specific atmosphere. But maybe that's something it promises and doesn't deliver. So again, we'll see how it goes. This one sounds interesting. This next one, Leila Slimani's The Country of Others, and it's translated by Sam Taylor. So Leila Slimani, I think, is from Morocco. And yeah, this is a story about a French woman marrying a Moroccan man and then moving out to Morocco. So here's the synopsis. So Alsace or Alsiki, I don't know how it's pronounced, in 1944, Mathilde finds herself falling deeply in love with Amin Belhaj, a Moroccan soldier belittled in her town, fighting for the French. After the liberation, Mathilde leaves her country to follow her new husband to Morocco, but life here is unrecognisable to this brave and passionate young woman. Suffocated by the heat of the Moroccan climate, by her loneliness on the farm, and by the mistrust she inspires as a foreigner, and by the lack of money, Mathilde grows restless. As violence threatens and Morocco's own struggle for independence grows daily, Mathilde and Amin's refusal to take sides sees them and their family at odds with their own desire for freedom. How can Mathilde, a woman whose life is dominated by the decisions of men, hold her family together in a world that is being torn apart? So yeah, I think that's a great setting for a book, and I have a feeling we're going to have lots of tensions coming from different directions, probably a lot of difficult decisions being made. So yeah, I'm looking forward to how that book will play out. So that's The Country of Others. And then on to three that I had heard of before the Booktube Prize. This first one here, I think it's a bit of a Booktube darling. And this is In Memory of Memory by Maria Stepanova, and it's translated by Sasha Dugdale. And just the book itself, even though most of the books here are hardbacks, this is a paperback, but it feels so dense and hefty. It's quite a good artifact. But anyway, on to the synopsis itself. So, In Memory of Memory. With the death of her aunt, Maria Stepanova is left to sift through an apartment full of faded photographs, old postcards, letters, diaries, and heaps of souvenirs. A withered repository of a century of life in Russia. Carefully reassembled with calm, steady hands, these shards tell the story of how a seemingly ordinary Jewish family somehow managed to survive the myriad of persecutions and repressions of the last century. In dialogue with writers like Roland Barthes, W.G. Sebald, Susan Sontag, and Osip Mandelstam, In Memory of Memory is imbued with rare intellectual curiosity and a wonderful soft-spoken poetic voice. Dipping into various forms, essay, fiction, memoir, travelogue, and historical documents, Stepanova assembles a vast panorama of ideas and personalities and offers an entirely new and bold exploration of cultural and personal memory. So yeah, this sounds great. I'm always looking for books that are between genres, that are sort of fiction, sort of non-fiction. And yeah, it's said there here that it's sort of in conversation and channeling W.G. Sebald, who I really love. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this, and I suppose I'll see what all the hype is about. And then another author with a lot of hype, Laurent Binet, and it's Civilizations. I know that Mark over at Book Time with Elvis really loves his book HHHH. Yeah, there it is, HHHH. And I think this is the sort of next book he's written, or the book after the book he wrote after that book. But yeah, this sounds really fun. And like The Country of Others, this is also translated by, where's his name? Sam Taylor. So I think it's the same translator, or just translated with the same name. But here's Here's the synopsis to this one. It's world history, but not as we know it. Circa AD 1000, Eric the Red's daughter heads south from Greenland. 1492, Columbus does not discover America. 1531, the Incas invade Europe. Freydis is the leader of a band of Viking warriors who gets as far as Panama. Nobody knows what became of them. 500 years later, Christopher Columbus is sailing for the Americas, dreaming of gold and conquest. Even when captured by Incas, his faith in his superiority and his mission is unshaken. 30 years after that, Atahualpa, the last Inca emperor, arrives in Europe. What does he find? The Spanish Inquisition, the Reformation, capitalism, the miracle of the printing press, endless warmongering between the ruling monarchies, and constant threats from the Turks. But most of all, downtrodden populations ready for revolution. Fortunately, he has a recent guidebook to acquiring power, Machiavelli's The Prince. It turns out that Atahualpa is very good at it, so the stage is set for a Europe ruled by Incas and, when the Aztecs arrive on the scene, for a great war that will change history forever. So yeah, this sounds like loads of fun. So we'll see how that goes, but I think that's going to be a fun one. And then finally, the last one here, it's a big one. It's Knausgaard's new novel, The Morning Star. And yeah, from what I can tell, this sounds a little different to what I'm used to with Knausgaard. I've started the My Struggle series and enjoyed it. I'm hoping to carry on with it later this year. Yeah, this sounds a bit different. So here's the synopsis for The Morning Star. One long night in August, Arne and Tove are staying with their children in their summer house in southern Norway. Their friend Egil has his own place nearby. Catherine, a priest, is flying home from a Bible seminar questioning her marriage. Journalist Jostein is out drinking for the night, while his wife Turid, a nurse at a psychiatric care unit, is on a night shift when one of her patients escapes. Above them all, a huge star suddenly appears, blazing in the sky. It brings with it a mysterious sense of foreboding. Strange things start to happen as 9 lives come together under the star. Hundreds of crabs amass on the road as Arne drives at night. Jostein receives a call about a death metal band found brutally murdered in a satanic ritual. Catherine conducts a funeral service for a man she met at the airport, but is he actually dead? The Morning Star is about life in all its mundanity and drama, the strangeness that permeates our world and the darkness in us all. Karl Ove Knausgaard's astonishing new novel, his first after the My Struggle cycle, goes to the utmost limits of freedom and chaos, to whatever happens when forces beyond our comprehension are unleashed and the realms of the living and the dead collide. So yeah, it sounds a little more otherworldly and maybe sort of surreal than the My Struggle books, which seem much more realist and just to do with the everyday really and sort of inner psychology. So we'll see, how this one goes. It's quite a hefty one compared to the rest of them. So that may take a while longer, but yeah, I'm looking forward to all of these. I'm wondering how they'll compare. As I said, there are 3 here that I'd heard of beforehand, and I'm constantly wondering, is the reason that I've heard of these because whether it's because they're better and people prefer them, and maybe they'll do better. But I haven't heard of these, but maybe In the Country of Others and Chasing Homer and The Membranes are total gems or dark horses that are just ready to take the stage. So we'll see how that goes. That there are the 6 books I'm going to be reading. They're going to be keeping me very busy throughout February and March. So yeah, we'll see how they go. In the meantime, I hope you're enjoying what you're reading at the moment, whether it's for the Booktube Prize or anything else. And yeah, I hope you're having a good day. So thank you very much for watching. Hope you're doing well, and take care.